Hi, everyone. I'm Anthony Johnson, Executive Director at ElderNet of Lower Marion and Narberth. Welcome to our virtual town hall on home modifications, how to adapt safely. This is the latest in a series of informational presentations for senior residents and their families and caregivers, coordinated by the ElderNet Advocacy Committee. A special shout out to Committee Chair Beth Draken, who is on the call today. I believe she's on Facebook Live, though not in the Zoom room. And for anyone in the Zoom room or watching on Facebook Live who is not familiar with ElderNet, we're a 501c3 nonprofit that was founded in 1976 and works to ensure that residents age in place safely. We have a volunteer services department, a food pantry, and a social work department. All of our services are free of charge. We operate with a staff of 7 full-timers and nearly 200 amazing volunteers who give our participants rides to medical appointments, stock pantry shelves, deliver groceries to homebound seniors, and more. Please visit www.eldernet.org for more information about us. And today we're lucky to have 4 very trusted experts in the aging in place and home modifications discussion. Karina Estragi is the Director of Grants and Research at Abramson Senior Care. Tracy Beck is the Lending and Operations Director at the Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation. Pat Noonan is owner of Lifestyle Designs and a certified aging in place consultant. And Emily Crane is Community Development Rehabilitation Specialist in the Building and Planning Department at Lower Marion Township. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Karina.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karina Estragi, and I'm representing Abramson Senior Care. I'm delighted to be invited to be a part of this panel presentation today. And today, in today's session, how do I do the screen share? Okay, there we go. So in today's session, I'm delighted to be sharing an overview on the concept of healthy aging in place. And so today I hope to be able to provide some guidance to you on considerations in the decision-making process for optimal living to support healthy aging in place, and to describe some community resources available to guide seniors and families in the emotional aspects of the decision-making process. So healthy aging in place is a model of care that promotes choice and autonomy for living in one's home independently, safely, and comfortably through the journey of aging. So in the past 30 years, there's become increasing more attention on this concept of healthy aging in place to support seniors in aging in their preferred setting of choice. There's been a shift in aging policy away from institutionalization and towards developing communities that embrace aging in place requirements. The premise for aging in place is recognizing that the natural aging process will require planning it for preparing for your home and life for the inevitable changes that come with getting older. It will require thinking about what are your current and future needs and making the necessary adjustments to live your life the way you would like to live it. So important goals for aging in place include improving quality of life, maintaining independence, and maintaining dignity and control. And there are many advantages, including the familiarity of your surroundings, reduced costs over living in senior care residence, being able to customize your home the way you need it, and really promoting healthy and safe living. So in the next decade, there's going to be huge advances in legislation and policies to promote healthy aging in place, given the trending in population and consumer preferences. There's a huge increase in the senior population forecasted in the next 10 years, given the aging of the baby boomer generation, technological advances, and simply people are living longer. longevity in today is expanded by about 6 years. Consumer preferences of seniors strongly endorse the importance of aging at home, a strong desire to remain in the home and community as long as possible, and opting for remaining in home over senior living in senior care communities, such as assisted living. With that said, central to this concept is balancing risk with safety. So that has to be a central consideration to assure the maximizing of the quality of life. According to leading theories on person-environment fit, there's a strong interplay between the needs of a person and the environment in which they live. The interaction between a person and environment is reciprocal, and wellness is influenced by how well a person is able to cope in their environment. As people age, needs for assistance will be impacted by both their individual health status and their functional abilities for doing typical activities of life, such as walking or bathing. So my colleagues in this panel will go in greater detail today on the important considerations that need to be made to the home environment to ensure safety and the senior's ability to get around the house and live comfortably. So some healthy aging facts on health and functional status include that older adults are disproportionately affected by chronic conditions such as diabetes, arthritis, and heart disease. Nearly 80% of adults 65 plus have at least one chronic condition, and 68% or more have 2 or more chronic care conditions. More than 1 out of 4 Americans age 65 plus will fall each year. Falls are the leading cause of fatal and non-fatal injuries among older adults, and that's reported from the National Council on Aging. Also, in 2019, about 7% of people ages 18 to 44 in the United States were hospitalized at least once. And then, not surprising, hospitalization among people 65 years and older grew to almost 17%. So with that in mind, plans for the future includes making plans in consultation with experts to ensure that you're well prepared to deal with the challenges associated with the aging process. Having plans in place take the guesswork out of knowing how a senior wants to live their life, as important decisions are very clearly articulated. Plans can include legal, estate, healthcare decision-making, advanced care wishes, and other considerations of that nature. So very important is having a home safety evaluation to help with identifying any safety concerns, such as tripping hazards and other risks in the environment. And it's also important to consider technological home safety supports to assist with any type of alerting needed, such as emergencies. It's important to garner a supportive network of family and friends. This is so important to helping one to be successful in healthy aging. Buddy systems with friends, neighbors are great ways to check on one another and stay connected. Communicating your plans so that loved ones are aware of your preference wishes is most critical, especially during a time of crisis, to know what matters to the senior and how they wish to live their life. And then always, with a tip that as your needs change, to adjust a plan accordingly. The needs of a 65-year-old is quite different from the needs of an 85-year-old. So know that your plan will change accordingly. And then always be prepared for an emergency. It's always important to have your latest health information, including your health history, medications, advanced care wishes, up to date and easily accessible. No one knows when a crisis will or will not occur, so having this information readily accessible is critical if an emergency room or hospitalization is needed. So, when are signs of when the current living environment of the senior, there may need to be consideration for really determining if the living environment is optimal according to the needs of the senior, and some signs of when it might be time to have more discussion or conversation. If you're if a loved one is noting, or the senior is noting, that they're having increased difficulties with managing a household, such as having trouble with paying bills or shopping, preparing meals, keeping up with needed repairs, things of that nature. If they're having difficulty due to complex and confusing medication regime, if there's concerns being isolated at home, or if there are health conditions which require supervision, if there's any unsafe living conditions, if a senior is living on own and having difficulty, and or the primary caregiver is not able to manage the loved one's care. These are just signs of when it may be really important to have more conversations and consultation with others. There's a plethora of resources in the community to help support aging in place. Mental health providers, basic needs, quite a variety of different home care, rehabilitation, areas on aging. There are home modification repair agencies, senior centers, adult day centers. The list goes on and on of the different resources that are available. The most important thing is that each senior has individual needs and preferences, and the resources that are needed can help support and maximize the quality of life of that senior. So geriatric care management, has surged as an invaluable resource given trends discussed today, such as the increasing aging population, the rising prevalence of chronic disease, and the preference of seniors to age in place. Geriatric care managers can provide specialized to older adults, helping them to maintain their physical and mental well-being and cope with the challenges of aging. So geriatric care management is the process of planning and coordinating care to improve the quality of life and maintain independence as long as possible. And so then this is it's just some information on Abramson Senior Care. We have a free 24/7 information and referral line for expert geriatric care management and guidance. And anyone can feel free to, if there's any questions, to call us. Our number is here, email and website were available. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Oh, thank you, Karina. That was a great overview. And it really helps us to know what we're getting into. As someone who's actually dealing with this now with my mom, I wanted to ask you, we moved her 3 years ago from a 3-story row home in Camden to a 1-floor apartment. And it was difficult having that conversation with her, about, okay, Mom, it might be time to move, and I was just wondering if you have some conversation starters that caregivers and family members could use.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it's important that families be in a place that they can have ongoing consultations. And as difficult as that they can be, the more and more that we're comfortable with our loved ones with talking about these important topics, it should be thought of as an ongoing process than really a one and done time situation, because it's important to know if there's a crisis that comes up, that how your loved one wants to live their life. So conversations, starters can be just kind of in what you observe and how they're feeling, what they're, what matters to them in their, as they get older, and continuing with finding ways of just bringing up the subject is super important. And that's I know that was a very emotional and challenging, and that's great that you guys were able to navigate that process. And feel free to reach out, anyone feel free to reach out, if you have any concerns, reach out and, how to broach that subject, is important.
Thank you so much again, Karina. Abramson Senior Care has been a longtime partner of ElderNet, and I'm so thankful you were able to be on the call today.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So how about we bring Emily into the conversation at this time? So Emily Crane again is with Lower Merion Township, and the township has some programming that might be helpful for people who are either looking to make home modifications or have other questions about the process before they even get started. So Emily, I turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Anthony, for having me today. So the township gets a grant from HUD every year. And with that, one of the things we're able to do is help people with minor home repairs. Well, major home repairs sometimes too. But the only thing that matters for this program is you in order to take advantage of it, you don't have to be a senior, but you do have to be income qualified. So we're able to help income qualified seniors with this. And basically, if you put your name on the waiting list, I will come out to the house and go through the house with you and see what kind of things need to be done. And that's the regular program, but we do run what we call an emergency program. It's all the same things, except we can come out more quickly. So if there's a case where you need to add some sort of ADA things to the house, whether it's grab bars, or if your stairs are in bad repair, or if you need help with anything that has to do with mobility issues. And I think when we talked about this last time, we added in the idea of lighting issues as being sort of a safety issue as well, which I hadn't thought of before, but somebody on this panel, I think, clued me into. So if you have any kind of ADA modifications that you need done to your house, you can give me a call at the township. And if it is an ADA need, that can be considered an emergency, and then you don't have to be on the wait list, and we can just come right out and do it more quickly. The township at this point, there is a small lien that gets put on the property for the work, but it's a declining balance lien. So it just goes away. There's no payments, there's no interest. And I'm hoping that in the spring, fingers crossed, we're trying to start a program that is just for seniors. And that will be the same qualification process, but it's for smaller amounts of money, a lot of which would cover ADA stuff. And with that program, there will be no lien, because I know it feels scary to some people. Sometimes if you're at an advanced age and you don't want to have a lien on your house, that might not have time to decline and go away. So stay tuned for that in February or March. But in the meantime, and also if anybody has other things they need, if there are any seniors out there who would qualify under the HUD income limits. And I'm sorry, I'm a little bit unprepared today. I don't have a screen to share, but I can certainly let anyone who wants to know what those limits are, I can give me a call and I can let you know. But we do other repairs to the house too, if you want to be on a waiting list in terms of staying in your house long-term, less for ADA, but just for staying in your house. We do roof repairs. If your heater goes, or your hot water heater, or if your bathroom has a leak or something like that, we can come out and do stuff like that as well to help you stay in your home. So I will get, Anthony has my information, but I can share it out. I can share out my email, my phone number. And anybody who wants to give me a call to talk about any of those programs should feel free to do so. And if you're nervous about it, there are certainly people in the community who've been through the program who would be willing to talk to you about it, I think. So anybody can just give me a call and I can try to point you in the right direction to get other people's ideas about the program, and also to get started on maybe taking advantage of it. So be happy to do all that. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask now or later.
Yet another great program from Lower Merion Township. Thank you, Emily. And I was wondering if, when you said someone comes to the home to look and see what might be done, you said those are township staffers? Or?
Yeah, so it's usually me. I may have a contractor with me or not, but it's usually me. Soup to nuts, you're going to get me. Except when a contractor comes in, I'll be your point person for all of that stuff. So, and basically what happens is one of the HUD, because it's federal funding, one of the requirements is, if we go into a house to fix somebody's heater or a hot water heater, we're required to do a quick inspection of the house just to see if there's anything else dangerous. They don't want us to leave anybody with anything dangerous. So if they're putting federal money into, a new heater and there's broken glass upstairs or unsafe electrical conditions, they want us to fix that too. So that's part of how that works. I mean, you generally tell me at first, what you think you'd like to have done, and then I might come in and say, yeah, and also these few things. Not always, but sometimes, just to make sure your people are safe.
And is there an approved list of contractors you work with, or is the homeowner responsible for finding it?
No, we have a list of contractors that we use. If a homeowner wants to use a contractor that they know, we are required to bid it out still. They can, if they recommend their contractor to us, I'm happy to have them apply to be on the program. And they just have to send in an application and some references, and they have to have one thing a contractor has to have, and it's easy to get and it's free to get, is it's a number. It's a contractor number you have to get through the federal government, but it's pretty easy to get and it's free. And if they're willing to do that, then they can be on the program as well. We still have to bid it out. If they're not the low bidder, we're required to go with the lowest responsible bidder. If the difference is slight and a homeowner is able to pay the difference and they want to, then we can do that. But generally speaking, I'll bring in a bunch of contractors to bid on it and go from there. But I hope that makes sense.
It does. And we had a question come in on Facebook about sharing the income guidelines. So again, if they email you, or they can contact us at ElderNet, we'll put them in touch with you or share the guidelines.
Totally fine. And I could even, given a minute, I could tell some people, but the difficulty is that it's different for every number of people in the household. So it's for one person, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's different. So I'm happy to share that with anybody who's interested. It might even be on our website, but if anybody wants to just reach out to me, that's fine.
Okay. Well, Emily, thank you. So I know this was last minute. I ran into Emily in the township building today and said, we're having our webinar today. Would you be available? And she
you did let me know. My bad, not yours. So,
but thank you. It's good information for sure. And thank you for making time for us.
Oh, happy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks. Right. So now I think we'll move into our last part of the presentation, which is actually a combination of Tracy Beck and Patricia Noonan, or Pat Noonan, who will be co-presenting. So I will turn it over to Pat and Tracy.
All right. Just share my screen here. And thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much for this opportunity. We really appreciate it. My name's Tracy Beck, and I am with the Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation, and I invited my colleague and longtime friend, Pat Noonan, who is the president of Lifestyles Design. And she and I have worked together for years, a very long time, helping Pennsylvanians get accessible home modifications. So our organization, Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation, our focus is funding assistive technology, and Pat is the one that can do the accessible home modifications and the design work and working with the contractors. So I'm going to talk about PATF, Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation first, and then I'm going to hand it over to Pat. So on this slide, I put some photos up that illustrate some examples of assistive technology. And assistive technology is this umbrella term that was made up by Congress about 30 years ago. And there's a lot that falls under that umbrella component. So it can be home modifications, it can be durable medical equipment, it can be most anything, as long as someone can explain why it's assistive technology for them, then we would consider it assistive technology. So in these photos, starting with the left, the little girl is working on an iPad for communication. In the photo next to her, there's actually a couple of different types of assistive technology here. Actually three. There is the wheelchair, the power chair, and the adapted vehicle with the ramp. And behind the little girl is her sister, who actually uses an iPad for communication. And then next to that is someone who uses smart home technology. That is an Amazon Alexa with a screen. And next to her is the gentleman who's using a scooter, and he also uses a cane. And then to the very right, there's a gentleman who uses hearing aids, and that is actually our #1 request, because it's really difficult to find funding for hearing aids, and insurance does not typically cover them. So who are we? We are a statewide nonprofit organization. We cover all the counties in Pennsylvania. Our office is based in King of Prussia. We have a board and staff that are primarily made up of individuals with disabilities and or immediate family members. Our organization is what's called a community development financial institution, and that is bestowed on us by the Department of Treasury. And their goal, the CDFI's goal, is to get out lending capital to underserved communities. So that is our primary focus. And we work with people who have a disability, and that is categorized as an underserved community under CDFI. We're also Pennsylvania's alternative financing program, and that was, again, a long time ago, Congress came up with the Federal Assistive Technology Act, and that's where our programs fall. And there are about 44 alternative financing programs, very similar to Pennsylvania's. Pennsylvania has one of the largest, most robust lending programs for assistive technology. We already went through some examples of assistive technology. Here's just some more. There is a federal definition, but we like to keep it pretty simple. So assistive technology is essentially any device or service that can help a person with a disability or an older adult do the things they want to do. And as I said, our #1 request for the past 4 years has been hearing aids, but we also do all types of assistive technology. The woman on the upper right, this is a really cool photograph. She lives out in Pittsburgh. She lives alone in her own home. And she had someone build this snowplow that connects to her power chair. And I just think it's such a cool device. And, you know, she can plow her driveway without having to wait for somebody, so that she can get out of the house and get to work. The person in the lower right-hand corner, she was a past board person for PATF, board member. She has MS, but she also has a spinal cord injury, and she has been in several Paralympics as a rower. So we love to do some very creative assistive technology, adapted sports equipment, We have done fences for families who have children with autism because the fence is for safety and for them it's assistive technology. We've done some for a woman with MS with agoraphobia. She wanted to get out of the house and exercise, but she could not do so. So we were able to get her some software so that she could stay at home and do her exercises. So we could get pretty creative as long as someone can tell us, again, why it's assistive technology for them, we will consider it. Assistive technology also covers services. So if you are doing some type of home modification and you need an architect or you need a design consultant, or if you are newly injured and you need to learn how to drive an adapted vehicle, these are all services that fall under assistive technology. So it's not only devices, but it's also services. We can also cover co-pays for health insurance if someone is purchasing an assistive technology device. So these are our main programs, and it's nice because our focus is narrow, so it's pretty cut and dry. We provide information and assistance about assistive technology funding resources and vendors. We have information on our website. We provide financial loans for assistive technology, which I will talk about in a little bit. And we also provide financial education. We have some wonderful financial education materials that are geared towards people with disabilities. And I mean that people with disabilities, especially if you're on public benefits, you have to be really careful about saving so that you can retain your public benefits. So we talk about safe ways to save and all sorts of things related to financial education. So we help people of all ages, all income levels, all disabilities, including older Pennsylvanians, all health conditions, all communities, and all cultural backgrounds. So somebody who comes to us and they would like to take out a loan, there is no income limit. We have helped people who are receiving supplemental security income as their income source. We have also helped people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars take out a low interest loan or a mini loan, which I'll talk about. This is one of our most popular publications, Funding Your Assistive Technology. And in this publication, which is available as a PDF, it's available in print, and it's also available in Spanish. We talk about choosing your assistive technology. We talk about creating a funding strategy. And what does that mean? So because our focus is so narrow, we know about other resources for funding, including home and community-based waiver services, the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, and we can give people that information if we believe that they may be eligible for some of these resources. We certainly refer them to the appropriate state agency so that they can consider getting signed up for a home and community-based waiver or Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. We have a list of funding resources in the book. We have over 75 that can help fund assistive technology. And as I said, the booklet is readily available on our website, or you can email us or call our office, and we're happy to mail out a copy. So real quick, I just want to go over our financial loan programs. We have a mini loan program, which is very popular, and that is up to $7,000, 0% interest, 0 fees, and the maximum loan term for that is 48 months. So that does cover up to $7,000. That does cover a lot of assistive technology, including what I mentioned before, co-pays for health insurance. If someone is getting a power chair, for example, and they have a 20% copay, the mini loan might be able to help cover that. We also have our low interest loan program, and that is for loans that are 7,000 and above. And that is 3.75% interest with 0 fees. And right now, this is a great, well, both of the programs are wonderful, but you cannot find a personal loan at 3.75% interest up to $60,000. So with the low interest loan, people are coming to us for adapted vehicles or home modifications or anything, any type of expensive assistive technology that would be $7,000 and over. The other thing is people can get more than one type of assistive technology. So we just had someone come to us and get some smart home devices, and they were able to get an Amazon Alexa. They got a Ring doorbell. They got some smart smoke detectors. So they were able to bundle that up into one loan. And of course, that was a mini loan, not a low interest loan. But just keep that in mind. For adapted vehicles, that is one of the devices that we do place a lien on. And for any home modification that is over $10,000, that is treated like a home equity loan. All the other loans less than $10,000 are just an unsecured loan. And for the low interest loans, the loan term is based on the useful life of the device. So we have here non-guaranteed loans up to $60,000. What does that mean? That means someone comes to us, they fill out an application, we work with one of our partner banks, and they probably have pretty good credit, pretty good debt to income. So they're able to get a non-guaranteed loan up to $60,000. And we can run these loans through fairly quickly. We do not have a waiting list. If somebody fills out the application, we send it to our partner bank and their credit is not so great, or their debt to income's a little high, that gets kicked back to our staff. And we would talk to the applicant about the reasons why the bank declined the loan. And then our board of directors will review the loan. They'll review the person's income. They'll review their credit. And then we will determine whether or not to guarantee the loan. And if we guarantee the loan, we can go up to $45,000. And finally, this is our other publication that's very popular, Smart Homes Made Simple. And this stemmed from people coming to us and asking, there are all these smart home devices I'm seeing on TV or at Home Depot or on Best Buy. How do I use them? What do I do with them? What does it all mean? And what will they do for me? So we developed Smart Homes Made Simple. We developed a website, smarthomesmadesimple.org, We also developed this publication. Again, it's available in Spanish, it's available in print, and it's available in PDF. And it includes a very comprehensive self-assessment tool. And Anthony, I was thinking of your mom when you were talking about her. And one of the primary things that we stress in Smart Homes Made Simple is, what is your goal? You know, all these devices are out there, they look shiny, they look great, but really, what are you trying to do? So Smart Homes Made Simple helps drill down so that you can determine what you would like to do and perhaps how Smart Home can help you. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Pat.
Okay, Tracy's going to push the buttons for me just because we combined our program a little bit.
Will do.
So as Tracy said, she and I have been working together for a long time, and my name's Pat Noonan, and I own a company called Lifestyles Design, which I started 22 years ago. And when I first started my business, I've always been in the construction industry. And I decided when I started my business, I wanted to focus on the aging population, because back then, the boomers was everything. You know, the boomers are coming of age, you know, they're going to age in place, that kind of stuff. And universal design was just really, you know, coming about. You know, everybody was coming up with names: universal design, age in place. So I decided to focus on that. So I am a certified kitchen and bath remodeler, a certified kitchen designer, and a certified age in place specialist. So I've been training for years to do this. And Emily, you brought back a lot of memories, because for years I did what you're doing for different agencies, and went out and did home assessments for home modifications. And so I'm just going to show you just a few things that you can do. Karina, was really emphasizing that people really want to stay in their homes, and that's what I try and focus on. So go to the next slide then. Should I hit the slide, or do you hit slide, Tracy? Okay, there you go. So one thing, the biggest thing that people have problems with when they're starting to have mobility issues is getting up that one step into their house. And so sometimes, all it takes is just a piece of concrete and realigning a sidewalk, or, the step up on the porch would make a house totally accessible. What I try and do when I do a home assessment is, again, what Tracy said, what are the goals, and trying to figure out, do they want to get in and out of the house? Do they want to cook a meal? Do they just can't reach things, stuff like that? So I try and find the simplest fix and then make it nice. The next slide then. So sometimes installing low-rise steps is a good option. A lot of times people just can't lift their leg that 7 and almost 8 inches that most steps are. And so we've developed the half step, where it's a little bit wider, and it's great for people using a walker, or have to step up and get both feet on the steps, and then they go up to the next step. It's especially better for people, amputees. This actually is a woman in her house that we did it for, that was an amputee, and she can't use a ramp because she'll fall forward. So I've done many half steps, and I did it for my mother-in-law because she absolutely didn't want something. She didn't want to lift. So we did the half steps for her. So sometimes, outside the box, outside or inside, sometimes there's just like a you come into the house and there's a step down into the living room. Put a half step in there. You could also put a grab bar next to the doorway, and for something to hold on to. The same doing it outside. You can do a half step at the front door, but it could be inside, it could be outside, it can be wood, anything. But just a little difference like that is all it takes for somebody to get in and out of their house. Go ahead. And in this case here, there were 2 decks. There was the upper deck and then the lower deck, and it had a sidewalk and then a step down to the lower deck. And in this instance, we ramped it. So it's hardly noticeable. There's about 20 feet between the decks, and now there's not a step down. You could easily go back and forth. Again, we did the lower rise steps going up the bank and put a hand railing in. And, this now is, anybody can use it that needs some support going up and down the steps and can get from one level deck to the other without having to do a step. So sometimes it's just simple things that make all the difference in getting around your house. You go to the next slide. So some of the things about technology that you might not think can be, associated with technology, but these are just 2 examples of how you can use it in your home. A touchless faucet. People who have arthritis or just dirty hands, people, bacteria, things like that. Just using a faucet that is touchless makes it very simple to turn the water off and on. This range is actually one that we use a lot for replacement, because a lot of times people that are in wheelchairs, they can't reach their cooktop controls because they're all in the back of the range. And so this one has a smooth top, so you can slide pots and pans across it. It has controls in the front that are large knobs that you can see and you can manipulate, but also you can also do this all electronically with the pad that's in the front lifts up so that you can read it. The one thing I really like about this is the double ovens, because the door is smaller. So when that door is flipping down and you want to put something in, you're only reaching half of the depth that you would normally be using in a regular oven. So this makes it a lot easier for somebody that's using a wheelchair that has to keep, their range in place. They don't have the option of doing a separate cooktop and an oven. Go ahead. So this is some of the things that can be done in your home, especially if you're having trouble reaching up or lifting up. Sometimes using drawers for everything. Like in all my home modifications and almost all of the kitchens I design anymore, people are attending away from upper cabinets, and that really started out because people couldn't reach their cabinets or they couldn't lift those heavy things coming down. So we started bringing things down and started using just drawers and pullouts. So here's a great way to reach everything. Everything comes out to you. Go to the next slide. Bringing down your bowls. These are pullouts. So things that used to be high up in the cabinets, we bring it all down. The nice thing about these pullouts, most cabinets in existing kitchens have a base cabinet that has a half shelf inside of it. And you have to get down and look inside, reach it, and you can't get to it. So with these are replacements. You can add it to almost any cabinet. You can get them online. You can get them, at the local big box. And you can retrofit them into an existing base cabinet. They all pull out. You can reach everything if you're in a wheelchair or, even if you're having trouble, just reaching things, you can bring everything back down to you. Or the next one. And then this is a pantry. And again, the pantry cabinet, instead of putting food in it, put dishes in it. So instead of using upper cabinets, everything comes out to you. All the dishes are lower. And it really makes it easy and accessible to reach all of your dishes and stuff. All the things that get to be heavy and you can't lift up. The next one. So in the bathrooms, no matter how big or small the bathroom, just about any bathroom can be modified. So here we have an example of an oversized bathroom that was not accessible. You can see the shower chair inside the tub. And so they had a very difficult time getting into that tub to take a shower, and they had put a grab bar or take a bath, but they had put a grab bar in the shower, but he still couldn't get in there. And there were no walls. Like if you took the glass down, there were no walls for this bathroom, this shower. So what we did was we removed the whole shower, removed the big tub, and we made it a fully accessible barrier-free shower. And you can, this one's easy to see because where you see the small mosaic tiles, that's where the floor transitions, and then we make a a slope to the drain, so it keeps the water away from the rest of the room. Put tulle shower curtains in it. What we can't see is the shower curtain rod is like in an L at the ceiling, so we bring 2 curtain rods in together. And then this makes it, we put the handheld shower on a slide bar, which is really, really important, because when you're using a shower chair or, sitting in a chair, you want to bring the water down to you. You don't want that shower head way up here and you're way down here. And so we try and bring the water to you. It's warmer, feels better. And then the handheld, you can bring it down, clean where you need to, or if a caregiver is helping, they have access to it. But having a no threshold shower like this really makes it easy for a caregiver to help. There's plenty of room. And, so this one was a little bit bigger. Go to the next slide. So this bathroom is much smaller, but it's on the same principle. But one of the things that can be really helpful here, this is a bidet on top of the toilet. It's a standalone piece that can fit on just about any elongated toilet. If you're doing any type of remodeling or anything, put an outlet next to your toilet because it does require electricity. But the nice thing about the bidets is that, it can help somebody with arthritis or stroke, or just if, if they need assistance with hygiene. But also, a caregiver, there's a remote that comes with it that actually isn't in the picture. It's stuck on the wall. So there's a remote with it. So if you have, a caregiver helping you, you can, hand off that remote to it. And the other thing is like grab bars, put grab bars in. They don't have to be ugly. They don't have to look like a hospital. This is a very, small, sleek grab bar that fits right next to the toilet. And then this also is a no threshold floor. Go to the next slide. Oh, I think we missed a slide then. All right, back up. We missed a slide here then. So I'll explain what you see that little shower curtain there. That was pretty much the same principle as the photo before, where we had the grab bars. We have 2 shower curtains coming together. But this room is only 6 foot by 6 foot. This was a powder room on the first floor. And what we did here, we just relocated the door and made it a fully accessible bathroom. And one of the things that I wanted to say, like, you don't need a lot of space to make things fully accessible. Sometimes you can get it into a small space. It just takes some creative thinking, and maybe rearranging or moving the toilet. Like so many times the toilet is like, oh, you can't move it, but a lot of times you can. And, so you can get this. So this is on a first floor. And so what this does is make this house accessible to anybody. So, somebody coming to visit, they can get into the bathroom because it's the no threshold bathroom, into the shower or to the toilet. And the doorway's wide enough so that, a wheelchair can be used. But so one of the things I wanted to kind of emphasize, that it doesn't have to be crazy expensive. It doesn't have to be invasive, but sometimes small changes can really make a difference. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that your home is not a commercial building. So a lot of times you hear you have to, follow ADA standards. But they can be used as a guide. But if you're, or you're unsure where to start, but a modification should fit your needs, not the public. And, if you are making changes, a lot of times you're going to need a building permit. And you do need to follow your local guides, local building codes, but ADA is not a building code. So I just wanted everybody hears that. And, and think, oh my gosh, it's going to be really expensive, but a lot of times it isn't. And then, so just wanted to follow, if there's any, well, you can go to the last slide then, sorry, I'm missing that last slide. So, this is my contact information. I've been a designer for a long time, and I've been doing home modifications for a long time. And so if anybody has any questions or concerns or anything, just please give me a call.
Pat and Tracy, thank you so much. That was an eye-opening experience to sit through. Pat, just looking at the one part of the webinar or part of your presentation when you were talking about an oven or a cooktop, and I forgot that someone who's seated at a stove can't access the controls that are in the back. They would have to reach across the cooktop. So
Yes.
That's ingenious to have the controls brought to the front of the appliance.
It's technology has totally changed doing home modifications. And that's the one thing, like when I started out, there was hardly anything that we could do. And now things have changed so much. The plumbing companies, the appliance companies, they're all designing more useful appliances, accessible appliances. And like a lot of times, like if you can't do that, like if we'll do an open front counter, a cooktop, so you can actually go and sit under the cooktop and reach everything. And sometimes we'll lower it just a bit. I try not to do it too much because sometimes other people are in the house are cooking too. So unless it's like just totally focused on one person, I try not to do it. Same thing with in the bathrooms, like I do not put shower seats against the wall because it limits that person. Their abilities change, their size may change, or they might need a caregiver. And if you have a seat up against the wall, you're stuck up against the wall. So if you have a shower chair, which is like a beach chair with wheels on it, you put one of those in there, then you can have a caregiver. You can, your abilities are changing. You don't have to be stuck there. And then using the handheld shower, you can get it anywhere. You can get water anywhere. So there's a lot of things that can be done. It's just taking the time to, figure out what you want to do and be creative.
So Pat, I have to ask, what happens when you are consulting with your clients and they have a design ideal that just can't be accommodated with the house that they have?
It happens, it happens, but not that often. But sometimes it does, and we have to come up with other options. We have moved families. I have worked with people who we just could not fix their house for whatever reason and make it accessible. So I've helped them go through the process of finding another house, You know, they sell their house, they move to another house, similar to what, you know, you experience, you know, you have to move and make a difference. So sometimes they have to move. Sometimes, you know, we can put an addition on, you know, sometimes it gets to be a little bit more expensive, but sometimes we have to move, and then I'll work with them to find a house that can be modified. Because a lot of times people think, oh, well, there's, you know, a bathroom here, I can get to. Well, that doesn't mean you can get into the bathroom with a wheelchair or something like that. People think that ranch homes are the simplest, but older ranch homes typically only have 30 or 32 inch wide hallways and 24 or 30 inch doors. You can't get a power chair down that hallway and make it turn into a door. So that's sometimes we have to look at other options, and it has happened.
Exactly. Well, thank you again, Pat, and we'll be sure to share your information with anyone who's viewing now and wants to reach out to you.
Okay.
And I just wanted to fit in a quick question for Tracy. I know we're at the end of the webinar, but Tracy, when you were, you had so many great examples of assistive technology, and I was wondering if you have examples of low vision assistive devices that you've seen clients come in and get loans for, or, you know, ask you about?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the technology for things like iris vision glasses, which can help people who are blind or low vision. You put these on and the glasses are computers, and they actually see things for you and tell you what you're seeing. I mean, it is incredible. So yes, there are some really interesting pieces of technology out there for all
And
types of abilities.
oh, great. And either the mini loan or the larger loan program would be available. Great,
Yes.
great. Well, I can't thank you enough. I wish we had more time to continue talking. It's such an interesting conversation. But Tracy, Pat, Emily, Karina, I can't thank you enough for, you know, sharing some time with us this afternoon. I think y'all were wonderful. And also just to give a shout out again to Darby Hanovit, who's our special programs manager. She's been behind the scenes the whole time, you know, taking questions and just making sure the technology runs smoothly. And to Beth Dratkin, our advocacy committee chair, and any other of the advocacy committee members who are on the call today, watching on Facebook or, you know, in the Zoom room, thank you so much for, you know, bringing another great presentation to bear. So thank you again, everyone. This session will be recorded and available on the ElderNet website. So again, thank you. I'll let you get back to your day, and we'll be talking soon.